Welcome back into another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you can already see what kind of episode this is. We've got the mock draft simulator up and we're ready to roll. We had some shakeup in week 12, um, and there's some interesting teams sitting at the top of the board here. So we need to talk through some of this, and the best way to do that, as always, is to kind of mock it out and talk about players as we go. So James, are you ready to roll with this thing, man?
I'm
How
ready to
was your
roll.
weekend, by the way?
My weekend was good. I checked my mail on Friday to find out that I have jury duty, which
Oh,
is kind of lame, but in a certain like weird sense, I'm looking forward to it. But I don't know. I might just tell them that I don't believe in court or something, so they'll send me home. I'll have to. It'll be a game time
unless they're
decision.
watching this video, then they'll know you're lying.
That is true.
So.
But
All
outside of
right.
that, a very uneventful weekend and ready to get into this mock draft. I mean, I've got some. There's been some shakeup in kind of how I view the quarterback class. I think like my
Mm-hmm.
opinion on these guys is still evolving. As long as there's more tape coming out on these players, like I'm not uh,
Mm-hmm.
locked into any position, and so I think we'll get into the details, but to me, like a lot of uncertainty with how this quarterback class stacks up.
For sure. I always love that. People on social media, well, social media just like accentuates the worst of it all. But like people be like, well, what happened? This was your guy in the preseason. Now it's not what happened. I was like, well, yeah, more tape came out. It's pretty easy there. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I really try to like make a conscious effort to not have any attachment to takes, especially while there's still new information coming out.
yeah,
Because like everybody can see right through that. Nobody likes the guy that just like gets their takes and then they kind of they just argue for it on Twitter like for the
yeah,
rest of their careers. And I think there's just better ways to do it.
right. For sure. All right. So James and I have decided we're going to roll through a couple trades. We're not going to go crazy here. But with the Titans and the Giants sitting at picks 1 and 2, if the season were to end today, both those teams picked quarterbacks. So, I mean, we could roll out best players available and get to the quarterbacks 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. But let's have some fun here and let's do some trades. So,
Let's do
James,
it.
you do odds, I'll do evens, and let's roll in here. On the clock, your Tennessee Titans.
So we're thinking Titans and Giants are going to trade out of this
Mm-hmm.
their picks. Browns Browns need a quarterback. Haven't checked in on Tyler Shuck since last week.
He had a
Um,
bye this week, so he didn't even play.
okay, that's why I haven't then. Um, I think the Saints, just like from the given information, I think I would say Saints are gonna stick with Tyler Shuck, but that's I think could change with a couple really bad performances. So I would say Browns, Jets, Raiders
Raiders.
are three primary trade candidates.
Even Rams at 8 right
Right,
there,
the
I would say.
Rams, but I'm just thinking as far as like it would be easier to trade up from probably three or
Yeah.
five.
Yeah, historically, going from like 3-1 or 3-2 has taken a couple second round picks, or from like 5-3 has taken, like the Darnold trade was the Jets, and that took 3 third round picks. Compared to like the Panthers trading up to 1 from 9 was 3 first round picks, right? So like
Yeah.
that would be what we're talking about with the Rams.
So
Where
do
with
we
the
want to?
Browns, like we or even the Jets. I mean, the Jets might be a little bit steeper, but with the Browns or Jets, we could talk about them both keeping their other first round pick and still making some sort of trade here.
Do we want to say just Browns trade up to make it simple?
Let's do it. Let's do it. So
And I mean the details as far as future picks, like
yeah, we don't want to get too
we don't
crazy,
have
right?
to spend too much time, but just to assume that they're gonna send like, do you think it costs 35 or 19? Let's see what.
So the simulator is saying they're not interested in this trade, but like I could add a million picks and it's going to say that they're still not interested.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Um.
I think for the
So
sake of every team who currently has a first round pick maintaining their first round pick, let's just say 35 out
yeah,
of
let's do
2027
that.
too. Yeah, and force this trade. Obviously, it might take more than that, especially if there's a bidding war for that for
Right.
either Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza by the end of the season. But for the
Since
sake
we're
of
only doing one
moving
round, it
along
doesn't
here,
matter.
right? Exactly. All
So
right.
that brings up really a decision. I think that first of all, I got to talk about Ty Simpson, who has been my quarterback one for most of the process. I think the accuracy concerns have really started to um, increase in magnitude by the week. Like
Mhm.
I last week to me was his worst performance of the year. Still made some nice throws, but there were some really bad misses, some awful turnovers. And I think that the way that Mendoza and Dante Moore have played, I would probably go with one of them over Ty Simpson at this point. I also think there's like some strain when Ty Simpson throws the ball. He isn't
Yes.
as natural of a thrower as the other two. Although I think his arm talent I think is NFL caliber. Like I don't worry about that. But the way that Dante Moore can just zip it, especially on the move, it's just a much more loose arm. Um, my personal opinion on Dante Moore has always been that he should enter the draft and he would be a top 5 pick. Uh, People that are connected within Oregon seem to be saying that he's going back to school, which I can't dispute that, but I don't know why. I think he should enter the draft. I mean, he's playing like a top 5 pick.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. To me, that this guy screams it. An easy money top 10 pick, and if we're talking about a quarterback, a top 3 pick. So,
So what we talked a little bit before we recorded, and we're spending a lot of time on this first pick. But uh, what would you go as far as Mendoza and Dante Moore, and what do you think will happen? Because I think it would be Mendoza initially, but
yeah.
I don't know.
I would go Mendoza. I think what the skill set and how smooth Moore is and how like Oregon's running a lot of 12 personnel, play action boot,
Yeah,
overs over the middle, like a lot of nuanced concepts versus Indiana. I think they would like Moore better. I would still go Mendoza, but I think it's more razor thin than anything else.
I'm gonna go Dante Moore. Like you said, it is razor thin. I mean, the touch that he had layering some of those throws
Mhm.
last week was really impressive. So I'll go Dante Moore for the Browns.
All right, I like it. I like Dante Moore to Cleveland there. Again, it's razor thin for me there too, so I can't complain too much there. All right, so we're gonna make a trade here as well. Are we we're swapping Big Apple picks here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we go to trade here, let's dial in to the New York Jets. And again, for the sake of parity of the first round of keeping our first round picks, we'll just do 2 second rounds of picks again for pick number 2 and force it. Bang. Okay, so Jets are on the clock here, and then this one's pretty easy then.
Yep.
If Dante Moore goes 1, Mendoza goes 2. I'm glad you brought up the Ty Simpson thing, man, because I mean I had mentioned on the podcast last week we talked about how I had some growing concerns about the accuracy, and it
And
didn't
I
go
was gonna bring
away.
it up if you didn't, so I'm glad
Yeah,
you did. But yeah,
yeah, it didn't go away, and it might have gotten worse this
it's
past
kind of
weekend.
like
So.
the way I think about it is like the same way with Arvell Reese, where Arvell Reese does not have a massive like foundation of tape that his grade is based on. It's based on a smaller sample size, but I'm grading to the flashes. That's kind of what I was doing with Ty Simpson, and you know, earlier in the season, the misses were a lot more sporadic. You know, just kind of short accuracy. Felt like the deep ball was a little bit average, but it, the rosy outlook was like, yeah, he'll clean that up because everything
Right.
else is so buttoned up. But the accuracy has, I think, declined throughout the year. So Titans at 3 after trading down, and this is where I am going to go Arvell Reese, edge rusher. You know, Ruben Bain, I think the arm length will be a concern for some teams. It's not really for me. I think we've seen recently like edge rushers with arms in the arm length in the 32-inch range have had really no issues being successful. But I think Arvell Reese is just a different prospect.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. You can do whatever you want with them there. Off the edge, stacked, whatever you want to do. All right, Saints on the clock, and again, we're going to work under the assumption here that Tyler Shuck's going to get a longer leash than 1 game. So, quarterback's not on the board. Again, they did trade Rashid Shaheed, and they are left with just Chris Olave, and that's pretty much it in the wide receiver room. They did trade Trevor Penning after that kind of bottomed out as well. So they've used a lot of first round picks along the offensive line, but if you're building a foundational in front of a young quarterback, that's still not a bad way to go. That defensive line is also not great. But again, we were talking off air, and it feels like the Peter Woods tape is declining, and it feels like the Peter Woods tape is reflective of perhaps a player that has just kind of packed it in. So I don't
Yeah,
know if a team is gonna take that chance top five
I
anymore.
don't think so.
Um, I know they spent so many assets on that offensive line, but I kind of think they go back here again.
You think that over a receiver
So
or like
if they went
Bane?
receiver, I would probably go Tate over Tyson because Tyson and Olave's skill sets are so similar.
Yeah.
So I'd probably go Tate. And 4 feels really early for Tate. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Oh man. Yeah, let's go Tate. Let's do Tate. Let's go Carnell Tate to the Saints.
Giants on the clock. My highest graded player available non-quarterback would be Ruben Bain. They're definitely not going edge. Um, man, it feels early for a corner that hasn't played all season, but like to a certain extent, I feel like Jermon McCoy might be the best pick here. I'm definitely
After
not
missing the
going
Deontay Banks thing, yeah.
Jeremiah Love. um, what do you think? Do you think corner or receiver?
I mean, Malik Neighbors needs a friend. I could see
I'm.
Jordan Tyson here. Those medicals with Jordan Tyson kind of
That's the
scare me.
thing is like
Yeah.
by talent. I mean, he's more
There's
than
a
worth a
part of me
fifth
that thinks
pick.
that Mara is gonna like dream of the days of Saquon and be so pissed off about how the Saquon thing unfolded that he could be
Yeah,
like, no, take Jeremiah Love. I think another solid, potentially solid option here would be Spencer
Fran-
Fano,
I was gonna say
uh,
Francis
or
Mauigoa
or, or Moe Noah
as
would be
a as
a
a
right
guard
tackle. Yeah,
or a right tackle.
yeah. Did you see that? Dane Brugler had Fano graded higher than Moe Noah on his top 50.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
interesting.
I've got them. I've got Mono 11 and Fano 20. So I'm a little bit higher on Monoa. I will go with Francis Mono. I think wait, Jordan Tyson. I'm going Jordan Tyson. We're gonna pretend in this scenario that the medicals are acceptable. I just think he's far and away the most talented player available.
I love it. I love it. That leaves the Raiders here.
Ty Simpson.
No way. I can't unsee the strain thing.
Yeah.
Like I texted you about it this weekend, and I can't unsee it. So like the analogy I use of somebody else is like you can tell a difference between a guy who runs a 4.55 and has every vein popping out of his neck while
Mm-hmm.
he's trying to push for that 4.55 or a
Yeah.
4.45 versus a guy who glides to a 4.55. Like one looks more natural and one is way more strained and stressed trying to get there. And that's kind of how I see it with Ty Simpson and Dante Moore throwing the football. That same kind of analogy.
Yeah.
Um, to the point where it's like I'm nearing being completely out on Ty Simpson in the first round, or at least if he is a first round pick, like one of those quarterbacks that goes in the back 20s. Like
Interesting.
that's kind of where I see Simpson now. After I because I can't unsee it. I can't unsee it. So that leaves the Raiders here. They need a corner. They need a defensive lineman. I mean, this could be a Peter Wood spot. I know we said he might be falling out of the top 10, but he's still the best defensive lineman in the draft outside of Ruben Bain. Do they go Bain opposite Crosby? They just kind of, I mean, they have Tyree Wilson, but Tyree Wilson is not an exceptional football player. Or do we just go best player available here and potentially talk about Caleb Downs
Could
to
do
the
that.
Raiders?
I would probably go O line.
Offensive, that's a solid choice too
Invest
here.
in the Genty pick, essentially.
Yeah, that's a good call. My top offensive lineman would be Caleb Lomu, who is a left tackle. They just resigned Colton Miller, so I don't think they draft left tackle. My second best would be Spencer Fano here. Um,
I like that.
so we'll go Spencer Fano to the Raiders. That's a good call. It's a good shot. Washington Commanders from the NFC Championship game to a top 7 pick.
So Commanders, it's basically to me like best player available on defense.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go Jermod McCoy.
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going with that.
Oh wait.
I thought you were
I feel like
going.
I do that once every mock draft where I forget that somebody obvious is still on the board. We're going Reuben
Yeah.
Babe Jr.
Yeah, there we go.
Correction.
That's what I thought you were gonna
Issuing a correction.
do. All right. The Rams here. This is a situation where I would say the Rams would go a quarterback if there was one on the board. But again, Ty Simpson, that's just that scares me in the top 10 now that I can't unsee the strain thing. They're another team that needs to invest in the offensive line big time. They did just resign Alaric Jackson, but Alaric Jackson's in a lawsuit now. I don't know if that would impact their decision to potentially shoot for Caleb Lomo whose PFF grades I don't feel like correlate to how well I think he's playing. But
Wow, those are a lot lower than.
yeah,
I think there's probably there's a really high weighting on run blocking relative to like how important it is.
Havenstein at right tackle is also probably on the way out. So we could go CC Moinoa here as well. I would go Lomu over Moinoa just because I see a for sure tackle with Lomu versus I'm not so sure.
Mm-hmm.
But their secondary is also in shambles. So I think, but if we're talking positional value here, that's not what I wanted. Oh, man. Moinoa feels like the thing I should do. But what I want to do is Jermon McCoy. And I'm going to do Jermon McCoy. They're started Darius Williams and Emmanuel Forbes at corner. So we're going to go Jermon McCoy.
So Bengals, this comes down to one of two Ohio State players. It's either going to be Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles for me. And I've got that Darnell Washington run in my head where he stiff-armed Barrett Carter and then ran through Geno Stone.
Yeah. They need an anchor at some sort of apex position, linebacker or safety.
I'm gonna go Sonny.
I think Peter Woods would make sense too, but if we're talking a slide for Woods, yeah,
the Peter Woods tape just doesn't justify a top 10 pick. I mean, like when I watched him right before we recorded. That was the Clemson defense was the most recent game I watched, and the effort on some of the plays was pretty bad. I just can't imagine. Maybe I shouldn't say can't imagine. It's hard for me to see teams watching his tape and like wanting to spend a top 10 pick.
Yeah,
on
what
agree, he's done
man.
this year. So I will go Sonny Styles for the Bengals.
Bang. Love it. Love it. I love it. All right. Arizona Cardinals, wide receiver here is a need. Offensive line is a need. This feels, man, if we go 3 wide receivers in the top 10, that would be whack. How do you feel about Trey Benson?
I have not watched him this year extensively.
I think he's hurt as well.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done much in his NFL career.
I try to keep tabs on NFL tape, but have not been grinding the Trey Benson, I'll be honest.
He has not played since September, and he's rushed for a season high of 69 yards.
Hey, Jeremiah Love.
That's kind of what I'm feeling here.
Phenomenal recently.
He is. And if Genty went top 6, where would you have if you had to rank Love and Genty on the same board? So I'm going to go Jeremiah Love, but this is just a conversation.
Initially, I said like Genty's a half tier ahead of Love heading into the year. I think he's closed the gap, definitely. I think that Love obviously is just more explosive and has a better breakaway gear. Genty has that just historic contact balance and ability to shed tackles. Yeah. But yeah, they would be very close. Definitely. I think it's the kind of thing where 32 NFL teams, I'll say 20 have higher grades on Genty. 18 to 20 have
Mhm.
higher grades on Genty. So that would be
Okay.
kind of how I would break it down.
Yeah, I could deal with that.
What are we at 11? Is that the
Yep,
Dolphins?
Miami Dolphins. Yep.
All right. So they need just like beef up front.
Hmm.
Should we stay in the home city
That's kind
and
of what I
take
was thinking
Francis
here.
Moanoa? I think that's
I
the
mean, they
smart
need
pick.
guard and tackles, so
Yeah.
you take your pick your poison here. Rolling with it. Yeah,
Yes.
let's roll. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Vikings. This feels like a Flores have fun kind of pick here at 12, right? We
I
could
was
go.
gonna
We could
say
go
it's
Caleb
staring
Downs.
you in the face.
It kind of is. Yeah. Well, we're gonna do it. Have some fun here. Have fun, Brian Flores. All right, Dallas Cowboys. You're up.
Dallas Cowboys. Did you watch this game tonight?
I saw they won big time.
Donovan Ezeraku looks like a hit. My highest graded player available is, let's see, Caleb Lomu, Makai Lemon, David Bailey, Vega Iowane. Those are my top four.
Hmm.
David Bailey is redundant with Ezeraku. Don't need a wide receiver. Definitely don't need a guard.
No, I
So
would
that
potentially come here with this pick if you're watching on YouTube.
Mansour Delane.
Mansour Delay.
See, I might go with a different corner over Delane.
Ooh,
I can't, and I've loved Delane like since basically week one. I'm like, oh, he took a step. Incredibly smooth feet. I just can't get the Texas A&M game out of my head where Casey Concepcion was able to just take off on him like 3 times, and he looked like, I mean, it looked bad when he was trying to recover.
hmm.
So I really worry about the top end recovery speed to take him that early.
Oh,
I could really see the Cowboys going for like a Kelly Jones, Brandon Cisse. Uh,
did you watch this game?
I no, I haven't gotten to that
I have
tape yet, but
not.
I saw he got beat.
That's a
I saw he
that's
got
a
beat on one play. I prefer Kelly Jones over Cisse. Kelly Jones out of Mississippi
whoa.
State.
He's not even in PFF's mock draft sim.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. 6'3", 195, elite speed. He's a scheme fit guy because like uh, not a not a fluid hips like mirror man corner, but just a press, cover three type of scheme. I still think 13's too early for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what
I think
separates that from like
13's I
Savon
think
Revel, who's
13's
gonna come off the ice for
exactly.
him
I
here
think
soon?
13's too early for any of these corners is kind of
Ah, okay.
my ultimate point.
Hmm.
What do you think about maybe Keldrick Folk? They got
Okay.
Clowney, Sam Williams. I think Folk and Ezeraku, that would be a really
Yeah.
good duo that complements strengths and weaknesses. So we'll go Keldrick Folk.
Keldrick Falk it is. Baltimore Ravens. Man,
Bro,
this feels like kind of a rich get richer situation, but if there's one
you gotta
organization,
fix
one
right guard.
culture, you gotta fix right guard though. I was gonna send Peter Woods here with Nnamdi Madubuike neck injury and now a lot going on there, and I feel like that's a culture for Peter Woods too, and the rich get richer. Like
That would be a good pick as well.
right guard at 14. I know
Yeah.
this is like right around where Tyler Booker went, but
So I'm
you think
actually kind of
Iolani
different on
kicks over
that
there?
with positional value. Like in my head, I view guard as like 3 technique value almost, like maybe a step below. I don't think that. I think that
Yeah,
to me, positional value matters, but you have to continue to update like what positions are valuable based on kind of the modern NFL. And I feel like
yeah,
guards get paid a lot, and they can it's critical. So I'm especially in this class a little bit less hesitant to take a guard, but I get wanting to take Peter Woods as well.
Yeah, but also like if you look at like I think they're gonna let Travis Jones walk, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at where they drafted both Matabuke and Jones, it was round 3. And
Yeah.
like look at these names that kind of sit in this like day 2 range of Christian Miller, Cade McDonald, Amari Washington, Dominic
The
Orange. You know, I
If we
think you could.
strip away name value and like what we think these guys can be,
Mhm.
um, Peterwood's tape is, I think, clearly worse than basically all those guys on the defensive tackle list this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, outside of Caleb Banks.
Yeah. They also didn't hit on David Ojabo, who's had some health history. They also traded Odafe Owe. Could this also be a David Bailey landing spot? So between Iowane and
But they
David
they
Bailey,
took
who would
Mike
you
Green
pick?
though. I
Yeah,
just I think that if they still believe in Mike Green, that would be redundant. And if they feel like they missed on Mike Green, they wouldn't go back to like the exact same archetype.
that's fair. All right, we'll go Iowane here. I don't love it, but we'll roll with it.
Yeah, I just kind of like strong armed you
You
into
got to
that
get
pick.
Folele off the field.
Um,
You got to get Folele off the field, though.
all right, the Chiefs. I kind of like Makai Lemon for the Chiefs. But here's the thing: they got to get an edge rusher opposite of Carl Laftis. So I think David Bailey has to be the move here. That's what I'm going.
All right,
Final answer.
I love it. Texans. All right, this is easy offensive line team here, and again, if we're going my top graded offensive lineman right now, it's got to be Caleb Lomu. Pretty easy right there. Pretty straightforward.
Panthers. Haven't checked in on how their edge rushers, the rookie edge rushers, have been doing the last few weeks.
Carolina guys have told me that Scorton's playing well, which that's
Okay.
not a shock.
Could go with a linebacker here. It's a little
I
bit
think I
early
mocked
for
CJ Allen to them last time we
Carolina.
did a mock, right?
Oh, I don't. My memory doesn't go that far back.
I'm pretty sure I did.
But that sounds right.
Scorton has 21 pressures and 4 sacks, 4 PFF sacks. I don't know about real sacks, but
Okay, we'll keep him. Let's go CJ. Let's go CJ Allen here. Yeah, I
okay.
think it's probably the same.
Princely's a bit rougher, but that at least looks like a hit on Scorton. All right, yep. CJ Allen, linebacker, Carolina. The Lions. So they need to replace Taylor Decker. Their secondary's been a little rough.
I
They
comped
just
Caleb
drafted.
Tiernan to Taylor Decker,
Did
but
you?
it's way too early.
Oh, way too early for.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying you should.
Caden Proctor's the Blake Miller, who's a right tackle kicking to left. I don't love the offensive lineman on the board at this point either. Once Lomu goes off the board, it kind of drops off, in my opinion. Although you really like Blake Miller, I get it, but I think that's a little too high for Blake Miller for my taste. The Lions tend to go to the beat of their own drum. I think they could take another shot at corner. I think they could take another shot at corner.
Terrion Arnold, I think, has the maybe least appropriate podcast for an NFL player as far as like
Yeah.
I always see clips. I saw a clip the other day where he was like basically saying if you're like another corner and you're just on the field and you're burnt toast, like I don't even want to hear from you. And it's like,
Dude,
bro, who do you think you are?
right. So yeah, I'm gonna go Mansour to land to the Lions here.
All right.
Yeah.
Cleveland
That's my move.
Browns. So we took Dante Moore, and we need either a receiver or a tackle, or I
Yep.
mean, really any blocker.
Mhm.
Probably too early. This is, I mean, Makai Lemon, right?
That's
19?
what I would
easy.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I would say
you come
that's
away
the
with
move.
Dante Moore and Makai Lemon. That's
You feel real good about yourself.
it's a great way to jumpstart a rebuild for sure.
Yeah. Yep. All right. The Buccaneers are on the clock here. The Buccaneers need an edge rusher. I don't think they would go for a Cassius Howe type this early. Tight end. Pick 20 feels about right for Kenyon Sadiq. Pick 20 feels right for Kenyon Sadiq. I could go Sadiq here as well. They
Sadiq's
need a
interesting
linebacker, but
because like he's coming off of the best game of his career.
mhm,
Up to that
yeah,
point, I had been pretty disappointed with Sadiq as a route runner. He had some nice blocks in this past game, but I even thought they were using him less at the point of attack as a run blocker, so there was just less opportunity for that. But yeah, he seemed to put it all together last
yeah.
Friday
So I'm leaning there,
or
but
Saturday.
Mike Evans has talked a lot about how he might retire. Do we go Denzel Boston here and just go back to back wide receivers, Emeka Buka and Denzel Boston, but like two very clearly different skill set at wide receivers here, and prep for life after Mike Evans here? Do we go Sadiq or do we go Denzel Boston?
I might prefer Sadiq if that was the choice,
Let's roll
personally.
with it. Let's roll with Sadiq. I could have gone corner there probably too, because Benjamin Morrison looks like he's still dealing with the hip thing.
All
He
right,
doesn't look quite steady.
21 Ty Simpson.
Okay,
It's that easy for me.
that's fine. That's fine. I think that's appropriate. It looked like for a while there, Rogers was playing well enough. They'd be like, yeah, that's an easy re-sign. Now I'm not quite so sure.
Mhm.
The Chargers need interior offensive linemen in the worst possible way, and there is not an interior offensive lineman unless we're talking about Caden Proctor playing guard. But I think you'd even say this is too high for a guard Proctor, right?
See, I think that what I would say is that Emmanuel Pregnon has put out first round
Pregnon.
tape this year.
Mm-hmm. Pregnon. Interesting. Peter Woods is still on the board, by the way, for us here as well.
He is.
That's a little shocking, jarring. But again, the tape has been. Who are the Chargers defensive tackles? Because this.
Jamari Caldwell.
Oh, I like Caldwell.
Yeah. I mean, he's played a lot for them.
All right. Have you tapped back into Quincy Rhodes yet?
I watched the past. Yeah, I actually did catch up on all of his tape, and yeah, I think he's going back to school. I still,
Okay.
despite the better production, I don't really see it.
All right, we'll go Emmanuel Pregnon here, 22nd of the Chargers.
Quincy Rhodes has, of the 36 edge rushers who I've charted this year, he has the lowest percentage of his wins that come along the outside track, or excuse me, second lowest, 23.1%.
Pretty concerning.
Lowest is Kenyatta Jackson. So
Also not shocking.
23 San Francisco 49ers. Could this be a right tackle spot potentially?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, who's my highest graded player available? I wish there was a way to connect my board. Could go safety here also.
Yeah.
Casey Concepcion. We've taken Chris Bell here a lot.
We have taken Chris Bell to San Fran quite a bit.
This is a really tough pick.
It is. It is indeed. They just used a bunch of high assets on interior defensive linemen, so I don't even think this is a Peter
Right.
Wood spot.
Do they go with? I mean, I think Caden Proctor could be interesting here as like a developmental Trent Williams like replacement
Yeah.
of the future, play right guard, or excuse me, left guard.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
I could see that one.
could go Basantis also, who I have a higher grade on Basantis. But I think if we're predicting what would happen, I'll go Caden Proctor.
Okay. Sounds good. Cowboys, also a team that need a right tackle. Trying to replace Terrence Steele. The Sim says defensive line is a need, but they did trade for Quinnen Williams, so I'm not quite sure. Unless you think Kenny Clark's future is narrow. Also says linebacker. Yeah, I'm not talking about another linebacker. Once those 3 are gone, I don't think you could talk to me about another first round linebacker. What I will say is that Jerry Jones tends to be a sucker for like blue bloods and homeschool or hometown kids.
Yeah.
So like Cassius Howell, the hometown kid.
That's true.
But Jerry's also been harping on like, oh, we got to stop the run. That was this whole thing with the Micah Parsons trade.
Yeah.
Blue blood and hometown kid, Christian Miller. His tape was really good against Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But again, that's a defensive tackle. If I'm going defensive tackle, I'm taking Peter Woods. Oh boy, I don't know what to do in this pick here. Oh yes, I do. My God. Wait. Oh no, he's off the board. Never mind. I was gonna say David Bailey, but David Bailey's gone. That corner situation is kind of tough because you're banking on Savon Revel, a 3rd round pick who's coming off an ACL injury, to be kind of the stabilizing force there. So I do think this is a good spot for Avion Terrell. Blue blood program. Jerry Jones loves the blue blood guys. Let's go Avion. Let's go Avion Terrell.
Cool. Alrighty. Chicago Bears. This could be a Cassius Howell spot. But the run defense, I don't know. I'm Cassius Howell. Like I feel like I could go either way on him. Like I could see him being pick 20 or pick like 65.
Yeah, I agree. At some point, Peter Woods has to come off the board.
Yeah, let's go Peter Woods here.
Yeah,
Peter Woods.
Yeah, we'll do that there. All right. Buffalo Bills here. They're sitting in a pretty decent spot. This feels like a Caleb Banks kind of landing spot. Caleb Banks has come back against Tennessee, is what the reports say. So
keep in mind they need speed at receiver really badly.
That's true, and they just healthy scratched Keon Coleman. So I think they would not go for another Keon Coleman archetype and like a Denzel Boston. They might even lump Chris Brazzell into that same archetype. I think that getting an explosive threat like Chris Bell could be some fun in Buffalo. Let's go Chris Bell.
All right, Seahawks, I'm going Chase Basantis here. It is a little bit of a reach maybe, but I think there's a clear drop-off at guard after this, and that's really, I think, what you got to come away with.
Back-to-back guard first-round picks for the Seahawks. Yeah. Gray Zabel and... All right, Jets back on the clock here. So they went with Fernando Mendoza, 2nd overall after trading up their first pick. Outside of Garrett Wilson, they're pretty barren at wide receiver. I feel good about their offensive line, the way they've built it with like Joe Tippmann inside and the 2 first-round tackles outside, obviously. So I feel like wide receiver is a good move here. If there was another tight end I felt good about, I would consider it as well here. So I do think wide receiver is the move. You could go a lot of directions here. Because, again, Garrett Wilson can play X or Z. So do you go Casey Concepcion, a Z/slot? Or do you go get an X to complement in, like, Denzel Boston? I think I'm going to go Denzel Boston here. To the Jets at 28.
Okay. So the Rams, there's no quarterbacks. What was the first pick? Did we take a corner?
We took, Jermon McCoy.
Okay. So they're already pretty like resistant to investing draft capital in the secondary or linebacker. So I think those are off the table. Yeah, Blake
Mhm.
Miller. Yeah,
Yeah, Blake
I think
Miller's
Blake Miller's the way to go.
Rob Havenstein is, yeah, I feel like been replaceable for a few years now, and he's definitely near the end of his career. All right, the Patriots, they just drafted Will Campbell, and that's hit. They need to get. Oh, this one's easy.
Yeah,
Let's
okay.
go Casey Concepcion for Drake May there.
That was gonna be my Eagles pick.
That would have been my Broncos pick if it wasn't your Eagles pick too. So he was coming off the first round in those next three picks here to end it out here, one way or the other.
Jalen Phillips looks like another Howie Roseman masterclass.
Yeah. I think I figured out Howie's strategy, by the way. I think he just hires as many guns as possible for day three picks, and if one of them hits, he's cool with it. Like,
Yeah.
they're day three picks. He just throws them around.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I remember he had that. They posted a video from the draft war room last year, heading into day three, and he was like preaching to his staff about how we're not looking to draft depth on day three. We're looking for
Mm-hmm.
guys that we think have a realistic chance of being starters. So I think they definitely do lean, especially like later in the draft, lean more towards maybe lower percent chance of hitting, but higher upside.
Yeah.
So yeah, Casey Conception kind of throws a wrench in what I was going to do. There's not really a developmental offensive lineman that I love in this spot.
No.
I'm gonna. This is maybe a hot take, but I'm gonna go with Kelly Jones, Mississippi State corner here.
Okay.
Um,
So,
I think he's got the traits where he's gonna shoot up boards, and like you watch him against the best competition, those are his best games. It's just kind of the recipe for how guys go early.
sounds good. So I just picked the lowest corner on
Yeah.
PFF's board, and that'll substitute in for Kelly Jones. All right, the Denver Broncos here, who are currently hold the best record in the NFL. Shocking enough, because I feel like every game they play is a one-score game that they just keep finding ways to win. And their top positions are kind of non-priority positions. I mean, PFF has their top positions on a running back, tight end, and center and linebacker. This is typically a really good Casey Conception spot. Obviously, he's not on the board. I've kind of cooled on Jeremy Bernard as a first-round pick, even though I think
Yep.
he's rock solid.
Me too.
But we're talking 32. Like, we're talking pick 32. Maybe that is a good Jeremy Bernard pick. If there's another Joker type player at tight end, I'd feel good about it here too. I don't feel good about any of these tight ends. And I definitely don't feel good about any of the linebackers. Jeremiah Trotter would be my next linebacker, or Josiah Trotter would be my next linebacker here.
I don't think I've said his name correctly one time since talking about him.
I know. Yeah, it's rough when there's a brother. Who is their other defensive tackle next to Zach Allen here? What's their defensive tackle depth chart look like here? Because this could be my Caleb Banks spot. John Franklin Myers and Zach Allen are their three techs. And they don't have much depth behind it. Those are two really good three techs, though. I want to look up what John Franklin Myers' contract looks like here. And that is coming to an end. John Franklin Myers is a free agent at the end of the season. So a team like the Broncos, do you re-sign John Franklin Myers or do you draft Caleb Banks and reallocate that money elsewhere? Let's go ahead and draft Caleb Banks here. Let's round that out. There's no good like I want a joker, like a playmaker that you can get the ball to in space and blow stuff up. Sadiq and Conception are the two that like really fit that mold, and they were both off the board. So that's what we're sitting with here. Going back through it here. First overall, Dante Moore, trade up from the Cleveland Browns. The Jets trade up to pick number 2, take Fernando Mendoza. The Tennessee Titans sit at pick number 3 and take Arvell Reese, the best non-quarterback on the board. Back-to-back Ohio State players here. The Saints take Carnell Tate to complement Chris Olave, another Ohio State wide receiver. Number 5, Jordan Tyson to the Giants. Number 6, Spencer Fano to the Raiders. Number 7, Ruben Bain to the Commanders. Number 8, Jermod McCoy to the Rams. Number 9, Sonny Styles to the Bengals. Number 10, Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals. Number 11, CeCe Moinoa to the Dolphins. Number 12, Caleb Downs to the Vikings. 13, Keldrick Falk to the Cowboys. 14, Vega Ioane to the Ravens. 15, David Bailey to the Chiefs. 16, Caleb Lomu to the Texans. 17, CJ Allen to the Panthers. 18, Mansour Delane to the Lions. 19, Makai Lemon to the Browns. 20, Kenyon Sadiq to the Buccaneers. 21, Ty Simpson to the Steelers. 22, Emmanuel Pregnon to the Chargers. 23, Caden Proctor to the 49ers. 24, Avion Terrell to the Cowboys. 25, Peter Woods to the Bears. 26, Chris Bell to the Bills. 27, Chase Bezantis to the Seahawks. 28, Denzel Boston to the Jets. 29, Blake Miller to the Rams. 30, Casey Conception to the Patriots. 31, Kelly Jones, Mississippi State corner to the Eagles. And 32, Caleb Banks to the Broncos.
Favorite pick is, because I know that's what you're going to ask.
It is what I was going to ask.
My favorite pick is probably David Bailey to the Chiefs.
Okay.
That could really reset their kind of team building process where if they continue to have, a year where they're picking in the top 15 and they can get that caliber of edge rusher that they've just really been missing. To me, that's the path for them. And then I like to do one that you made also. Favorite pick that you made would probably be, I really like Jermod McCoy to the Rams. Like they haven't really invested a high pick in corner or like high capital in corner since Jalen Ramsey, and he was more of their nickel star player. So yeah, having an outside corner that might let them play a lot more man coverage than they normally do.
Yeah, I like that one too. So my favorite pick from your selections is going to be Makai Lemon to the Browns. And that's just not a cop-out as a Browns fan, but we've seen the way that these types of receivers, the Jackson Smith and Jigba, Amon-Ra St. Brown type refined receivers come in and make day one impacts, and that's a way to change a franchise. Even teams that weren't very good before they got there, they come in and they produce right away.
Yeah. It
so I really like
my
that.
mind how good JSN this year is.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
It's
never
I would have just, and I like JSN, so it's not like I'm surprised he was good. I never expected that he had this kind of ceiling.
Yeah.
Which is a reminder that we should be careful when we talk about ceiling. That's why I always try to say 90th percentile outcome or something like that. That gives me some wiggle room.
Yeah, for sure. Favorite pick that I had here, I think it's Conception to the Patriots is so good. That's a good one.
I think I've said this before on. I don't know if I've said this before on here, but he has the highest percentage of snaps where he's faced press coverage in this class. So
that's fascinating.
He's going to get typecasted as a slot gadget guy, and he definitely has that skill set. But he's on the line of scrimmage beating press consistently.
Yeah, interesting. He had another drop this week, though. You see that?
That is a problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for another episode this week. We'll come back with helmet stickers tomorrow. We just needed to buy another day here to get through some more tape before we came in and dove into the last weekend's games. And then we're going to talk about some guard play as well this week as we refresh our big boards. So hang with us. We'll dive straight into that. But until next time, this has been another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. See ya.